Oh, there we're live.
All right, thank you. Okay, so welcome everybody. I just wanted to begin tonight. I know that Clearview doesn't officially have a land acknowledgement, but it's been something that's been really on my mind for a while that I think that we need to be doing, and then just recent events in the news and the things that are coming out have just really reinforced it to me that we need to do it. So I would like to do something, and I'd like to show a little video to you all, just to kind of kick off the meeting tonight about the importance of land acknowledgements. So I would like to acknowledge that we are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. I'm dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in a spirit of reconciliation and respect with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. And I think that living where we live, we need to recognize that we are all settlers and that we are all beneficiaries of colonization. And one thing I would like to show you guys is a little video that I've come across. It's from developed by the University of Guelph, but I think it's really explains the importance of land acknowledgements very, very well. And so I'd just like to share that now. I hope you can hear it when it comes up.
It looks like it might be paused, Bill.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear that?
No.
No.
No?
No. Bill, when you select share screen in the bottom left-hand corner, it gives you the option to share the screen with audio. So if you want to stop share and then do it again.
Okay, thank you.
And just look in that bottom left-hand corner where it says share screen.
It. Okay,
Yep.
Not used to Zoom, sorry.
No worries.
I'll just rewind that a little bit. We'll get this right eventually, folks, sorry.
Guelph, known as Tadinaduni, the place where they built to the Mohawk Nation, on the shores of the Amnimosa River, as it is known to the Mississaugas. This place has many names that are not consecrated on colonial maps. We are on the traditional lands of Attawandaron, Anishinaabeg, and Haudenosaunee peoples, and on the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit. This place is home to peoples who can trace their lineage here back thousands of years. We are within the jurisdiction of the two-row wampum and the dish with one spoon covenant. These are nation-with-nation agreements, and they serve as reminders that all the people on this land are still accountable for the promises made by their ancestors. This land is a product of many stories, seen and unseen. It is shaped by the wind, the water, and the people that have flowed and continue to flow across it. It is one of the many meeting grounds of Turtle Island. It has been the stage for many dramas that have been forgotten, and many that are all too well remembered. But all of these dramas have played a part in building the life that we have today, with all of its privilege and all of its pain. Being honest and open about this history is central to the land acknowledgement. Land acknowledgements are not meant to instill guilt or to assert treaty rights. They are not lip service to institutional or governmental mandates, nor are they meant to simply convey sympathies or regret. They are a way for us all to feel more connected to the land that sustains us. They are a reminder of our responsibility to the land and of our relationship to the natural world. They are meant to push us to educate ourselves about the history that has shaped our lives here so we can begin rebuilding relationships from a place of honesty. Land acknowledgements are meant to remind us that Canada was founded neither on pristine wilderness nor on empty space. Rather, it was built alongside and then on top of indigenous nations that existed since time immemorial, and also to remind us that those nations continued to exist and continued to have responsibilities to the land and inherent rights to determine their own futures and practice their own languages and cultures without discrimination or interference from other forms of government. The land acknowledgement highlights the importance that Indigenous peoples place on kinship with land in a culturally responsible way, and is a step towards building a future focused on understanding, respect, reciprocity, and a reconnection with the land and with one another. Finally, the land acknowledgement is a platform for real change and real commitments to be put forward. It is meant to break the silence that has left Indigenous peoples and communities in Canada deprived of clean water, disadvantaged in educational opportunities, forced into housing and poverty crises, and destabilized by systemic racism and inequality. For settlers and visitors, the land acknowledgement should inspire questions like, what steps will Western institutions and organizations take to mend the privilege gap which began with colonization and is continued in so many of our present-day policies? How have you benefited from colonization at the expense of the cultures, lives, and livelihoods of Indigenous peoples? What will your contributions be to reconciliation and a future focused on equity, reciprocity, and nation-with-nation relationships?
Okay, so thanks for that. I'll send that the link to that video out if you'd like to read it or to watch it again. It is, I guess, you know, I was maybe doing too many things at once, doing a Zoom meeting and streaming it. When I streamed it at home, it worked pretty well, but you missed some of the video there. So I think, but the audio is pretty good, and I think it just kind of enforces why it's important. And Councillor Lamers, I really hope that you can pass that message on to the rest of the councillors at the council table about the importance of getting this, getting a land acknowledgement officially done for Clearview Township. Okay, on to the agenda. Was sent around by Kayla last week, and oh, I'm reading the minutes. I was like, why? Geez, she's gotten on that already. Okay. We need an approval of the agenda. We need a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda. It was sent around. Okay, Melanie, and a seconder. Okay, Tina, thank you. And all in favor of the agenda as printed? Any additions or anything that needs to be changed on the agenda before we move on there? Okay, all in favor of the agenda? Great, thank you. We'll consider that carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, disclosure, they've changed disclosure of disqualifying interest and nature thereof. Does anyone need to disqualify themselves? Okay, great. Approval of the previous minutes. Now we can go back to what I was just reading. Again, minutes were sent out the last week there. So is there any comments on the minutes as sent around by Kayla? Hearing none, a mover and a seconder for those minutes. Melanie and John, great, thank you. And any opposition to the minutes? Seeing none, we'll consider those carried. Moving on, business horizon, small halls, AODA, and moving forward. So there was a meeting earlier this month for hall board chairs, just about where we're at this point with respect to the renovations and AODA and that sort of thing. So it was an informal meeting because it's not officially as you know, you would know, we're not officially a committee of council there. So we met and got some information as to where the process was from our manager of culture and recreation, Terry Vachon, and the mayor was there, as well as our new CAO, and a number of other township staff, I think. So and all the hall boards were represented there. So basically, at that point, Terry had heard from 3 of the 6 halls that are looking at the renovations, and I think the others were somewhere waiting for more input from the community, and I think some were just trying to figure out how, as a board, how they were going to move along with it. So there hasn't been anything presented to council, as far as I know. Was there anything presented this week at council table? How about that?
No, there was nothing yet.
Yeah, so okay, so we're still kind of waiting at this point to know exactly where everything stands. I said that I relayed that, you know, we were as Avening, we were ready to go, and we had struck a fundraising committee and wanted to get moving on it. So that was basically what I relayed, and certainly there was discussion. There was quite a bit of discussion about the costs and about quite a bit of discussion about the fundraising initiative, or the fundraising levels, and nothing's official, I guess. So we don't really know exactly where council is going to come back at. I certainly, you know, there was concern from the mayor about the price and about the political repercussions for that. And one of my comments was I didn't really think there would be political repercussions. I don't think that, you know, investing in the halls is a bad thing, and I don't think there will be too many people who are begrudging the price tag if that's what it needs to be. And Chris Vandercruz from Brentwood relayed that there is a reserve fund. I don't remember exactly what it is called, that the township pays into every year, that there's funds there that could be accessed to offset a potential rate increase. So it seems to me like there are ways that this can be paid for, and certainly if we enter into agreements where we can raise money to go along with that, I think it'll be more than palatable. So wait to see what where council comes back at that for us. So I don't really have any official news, I guess, at this point, but that's just kind of the flavor of that meeting. Is there anything from the council table that you feel needs to be added, John?
No, we didn't get any report from that meeting, but I think Avening is in pretty good standings, and it sounds like we're ready to go as soon as we can get the word to start. So I'm hoping we can get going before fall.
Yeah, our we have had a couple of folks that we appointed to our fundraising committee, and so I think certainly we're further ahead of most other halls in that regard. So so yeah, I think we're ready to go. I have emailed all the folks who are on the fundraising subcommittee, and I'm just waiting. I was waiting for that meeting to happen, and then was hoping that we would get something from the council table in June, so we could the fundraising committee could kind of start going. But I think we're going to get I think we're going to have a first meeting at some point in the next in the summer here, and start to get organized a little bit. So if there's anybody who would like to be part of that fundraising committee who wasn't mentioned at the meeting last in May, please let me know, and then we can talk. Is there any questions or anything from that? Okay. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Karen. Yeah, that's okay.
I'm just wondering if I should jump on that committee as the treasurer. If
Sure,
that's
that'd be great.
helpful, and keep the books.
Great.
Sorry, Bill, I missed the May meeting. So who's on the committee?
So Bonnie and Rick, and Keith, who's he lives in the church, a new resident in Avening, Trina and I, and Karen now. I have reached out to Carol Whitley, and she is thinking about it, about being on the committee. So if anybody is, texts or sees Carol, it'd be great to twist her arm a little bit to help out. But yeah, there's no real stipulation on size or composition from the board. So, and I think it's going to take many hands and many different initiatives to raise the kind of money we're talking about. So the more the merrier.
But they'll come to the board with a full strategy, and then we can all help out where we can. Is that the thinking?
Yeah, yes, the fundraising plan, the fundraising subcommittee will develop a plan, and then it'll be presented to the board. Yes.
Okay.
Will not be a rogue
I'll talk
committee.
to you and see if it's necessary to be on the committee to do kind of what I'm already doing, but we can figure that out.
Okay, great. Alrighty. Any other discussion or questions about the AODA renovations or the committee or anything? Wonderful. Okay, rental updates is our next item on the agenda. Claire.
So I have only had one person reach out to me in the past month, and she has a wedding rental for September 11th. And she's really hoping to be able to go forward with that wedding on that date. I did inform her that the hall was not officially open yet. But as things progress with openings, then I would keep her updated. But that's the only rental I've had.
Okay, great.
Questions,
I'll send an email to Amanda Murray about just started it there so I can remember to do it. About the reopening plan and where we kind of fit in with all the different stages. I haven't heard anything at this point, so so that's a good reminder for me. Thanks for that, Claire. We do have the farmers market renting the sign too, I guess, right? And they've been changing it and whatnot. So
I just gave them the key to the sign, and I dropped the letters off at the lady's house so she doesn't have to go in and out of the hall.
Oh, great.
Actually, there's no key anymore. I take that back. I looked for the key, but the chain's just tied.
Gotta know the right knot for the chain.
Yet nobody's made any hilariously clever twists with the word.
Not yet.
It's been recorded right now, so who
Yeah,
knows has learned about this.
There you go. All of our secrets will be revealed.
So just to clarify, I had forgotten that I had put a motion forward to waive the fee for the farmer's market. And once the minutes came out from the meeting, it was confirmed that we did waive that fee unless we needed the sign. So there is no rental fee on that sign.
Oh, okay.
An FYI for everyone.
Great. Thanks for that clarification. That was my mistake then. Okay. Any questions for Claire? Great. Financial report, Karen.
Okay, also not a lot to report. I have a bank balance as of May 31st. It is $81,316.76. The most recent bills paid were to Creemore Home Hardware and a reimbursement to myself for buying 1 roll of stamps, both within the approved budget. That's about it.
Great. Any questions for Karen? That's about what I thought. Perfect. Thank you, Karen. And thank you, Claire. New business. Any new business items for the meeting or for the hall?
Bill?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the agenda. Yes?
So I'm starting to get inquiries from bands about firming up dates for November. So I think we just need to have a little talk about how we want to proceed. Yeah, I need some direction from the board. What I'm proposing is, I hold most of the risk. I guess I kind of have an interest here. I don't know how this all works out. Anyway, I can leave the room while you guys discuss it if that's required. But so yeah, the bands are hoping to start firming things up. The contracts, from my perspective, there's kind of all kinds of caveats that are COVID related. So, everybody's basically watching numbers and health protocols and so that may or may not have an impact on things like capacity, whether the show even goes ahead, that sort of thing. But what I need to understand from the board is if we're comfortable with me securing these activities, knowing that they're kind of overseen by bigger bodies like the health department, and then also knowing that if we can't operate with our normal volunteer body because we're uncomfortable, or we have members of our normal volunteer body that are uncomfortable, that we could seek other volunteers that might not feel so vulnerable. So I just need to know if I'm okay to get going on this for November.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Lamers.
How many events are you planning from November to Christmas?
Well, so far I have 4 dates held for performers, and we're looking at late November. Basically, that's when everybody's coming back online with shows. That's when they're booking live concerts. So it might be a maximum of about 4 from mid to late November, early December. But that's the absolute max. That's 2 shows, like 2 different performers, perhaps wanting 2 shows. Like if we have to break it apart so that we do 100 one night and 100 another night, it's all super speculative and nobody really knows what's going on. And, that's all I know. Everybody's concerned about everybody's health. Anything could change, but I certainly just don't want to do this without talking to everybody.
It's 2 weekends of Friday and Saturday, correct?
Possibly, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
The Hannah Georges, they want the Friday and the Saturday for sure. Elliott Brood may or may not be both nights. They, at this point, they haven't even firmed up. They're not even certain if they want one night. They might, if, yeah, it's crazy times.
Sure.
Yeah, everything's based on Simcoe Muskoka health units. So hopefully by that time we can get going and things start opening up. It's good to hear that we have interest out there.
Oh, the musicians, as soon as they can get back on stages, that they want to be there. And yeah, so it's really about what we're comfortable with as volunteers at the hall. You know, as I said, I'm taking the risk in terms of the contract with the performer. So it's really about the hall board's willingness to put in the hours at the bar and whether people feel okay about that. I mean, it's hard to know, right? It's not till November. We might feel great about it, we might not. But at some point we have to just kind of make a call and know that we're, you know, everything's kind of adjustable.
So I just started that email to Amanda about how we fit in with the reopening stages. I believe under stage 3 of the reopening plan for Ontario that live events could occur again, and it certainly did talk about smaller venues first, like not, you know, massive festivals of 10,000 people, etc. So I think we would fit into that, and especially if we're talking about later in the fall. It's I think it sounds good. I think it also, like, from the perspective of generating some excitement around you know, getting renovations done, and maybe we could you know, kind of build some momentum going into possibly next spring or next building season of 2022. That might, you know, it might be good to have a few concerts and kind of get people coming back in, and having some events, and then, you know, maybe we could tie that into getting some renovations done next year. I mean, there's so many things up in the air. It's like everything with COVID, you know, you make one plan and then 3 days later you got to make another one because everything just changed, right? So I think I would support some tentative dates, but of course everything has to be contingent on approval from the health unit, approval from the province, etc. Of course, township council along with that too. So,
luckily,
other
we're
thoughts?
dealing with some of the biggest professionals in the business when it comes to these bands. We're dealing with the biggest booking agents in Canada, so they have really strict policies and procedures in place. I feel like that will help set the tone. I almost feel like they'll have more of you know, they'll have more of a pulse of what is okay and isn't okay from a bigger, like, the provincial perspective, just because that's their entire business. But of course it will be regional too. So yeah, does anybody else have any kind of thing they want to share about this idea of maybe tentatively looking at kind of doing something?
Do we have to set up some kind of protocols for people coming and going to the events?
Yeah, so things that we can do for sure. We already track attendees with our ticketing system, so that's good. So if there was an incident, we would have a really easy way to track people, and we would follow the protocols at the day, like at the time. You know, a lot of it's around postering, signage, providing proper sanitation. I think these are all fairly manageable and not at a huge cost. Yeah, but who knows what those protocols will be at the time. But I would say any decision we make would have to acknowledge that we will be in compliance. The costs that could be involved would be maybe like a barrier down in certain areas. I don't know about that. Karen, have you heard anything about that? I imagine barriers will be necessary, providing all of our volunteers with proper protective stuff, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But maybe we can look to the municipality to get some help at that time.
Yeah, I think a lot of places have already been set up with the barriers, right? It'll be interesting to see what places like ours that have been closed this whole time are then expected to do.
And maybe one of the things that we could do is turn to council. I know they have money around COVID. Maybe one of the things that we could turn to council for is help us cover the cost of some of these COVID related expenses, like getting the plexiglass, like buying the items for our volunteers. I think that's a really reasonable request, and we could make it on behalf of all of the hall boards. I think it would be really great for us to advocate for the entire, not just our hall, but every hall, and to get some help.
Did we not get anything done in the fall or last spring? I know a lot of the halls already have plexiglass in place, and it was all done through the township.
We don't have any. We've been closed, so we haven't had any barriers or PPE dispensaries or anything like that put in place.
Yes, I'm pretty sure Amanda's got a budget for that to help out with the sanitizers, and she had a whole kit put together last fall.
We could certainly, I know there's posters and floor stickers and stuff like that. I know that I actually have a bunch of those, so we could use those, but it's really around that plexiglass and masks and anything like that. I think we need help.
There's been a couple of things put in the chat there about, so there is still some there are some funds available through Amanda, and there was some plexiglass installed in Brentwood. So I'll include that in my email to her. Again, that might be something we look at as we get into September and beyond to see what's required. We may, we may need to have some pretty creative solutions potentially too. So
we may have to reduce the number of volunteers and figure out ways to be, not like we might have to do that. That's another option too, just to get the distancing. Like at the bar, obviously we won't be able to have 4 people on top of each other like we kind of have had in the past, which isn't as social or as fun. But we might look at not doing draft beer, but actually buying cans so that there's not much contact. I think there's creative ways that we can reduce the number of volunteers and the labor, and provide, really good sanitation. And I would say going to a pre-filled container, like just using cans, is probably the way to go until things settle down.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is going to be like John said. I think a lot of that's going to be dictated to us by the health unit and by the province and other bodies. So hopefully, as we get closer, I think Sarah is just kind of looking for some direction about confirming up with these folks. Are we thinking this is a good idea at this point? Does anyone think it's a horrible idea? I guess, and please,
speak up.
No, this is a step forward. If we can start getting some events happening, as long as protocol allows us, it's a good thing. It's going to promote the community, and everybody's looking forward to starting to go to events.
So I will reach out to Amanda and just get the official how we will proceed from a municipal standpoint, and from that in regards to that, and make sure that we are complying with all of the regulations as we need to, and then we will of course make sure that the performers are aware, and like Sarah says, this is their business, so they're going to be probably pretty on top of a lot of these things as well. Kayla, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I have a potential resolution if you'd like to hear it.
Oh, great.
Be it resolved that the Avening Community Center Board hereby approve tentatively booking 4 concert dates for November 2021 in conjunction with and pending provincial and health unit guidelines, restrictions, and protocols.
Man, that sounds like it was written by a professional.
Sounds good.
I think John's moving that
Sure.
by the sound of sounds good. And Tina, I got you for seconding. Great. Any further discussion on that? And all those in favor? Great. Any opposed? All right, we will consider that carried. Thank you very much, Avening Hall Board.
Thank you.
And any other new business? Hearing none, we will move to schedule our next meeting. Have it written as July the 15th. I'm not available that day. I don't know. Summers are pretty hit and miss. Of course, I mean, not that there's a lot of places to go, but I'm going camping, so I can't do that day. I mean, what do people think? Would the 22nd or the 29th work? 22nd is probably better for me.
22nd looks good.
I'm okay with the 22nd.
22nd's good.
Yep, we're
Great.
good.
Okay. So our next meeting will be July 22nd then at 7:30. And we will, maybe we could even have it in person. I don't know, out in the back parking lot or something outside. We'll see. We'll see. Would be nice.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So hearing that, no more business. We'll see. This next meeting will be the 22nd of July. Need a motion to adjourn. Melanie, and seconded by Sarah. Great. Or did you just move your hand, Sarah?
Yeah, sure.
I took any movement as it's like an auction.
Yeah.
Gotta watch what you buy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everyone.